Today we have Joe Shaker from Shaker Automotive Group with us. He's also the co-founder of TruVideo. My name's Kim Saylor. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at CDK Service for our fixed ops solutions. And today we're going to talk about trust through transparency. But before we talk about it, congratulations on being Time Magazine Dealer of the Year for the state of Massachusetts.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an exciting week here.
Yeah, exactly. So, and CDK has partnered with TruVideo with a product called CDK Service View. And we're going to talk about that and how we can build trust with our dealers utilizing a tool like that. So, Joe, you were really early using videos at your dealership. So tell me a little bit about that and how you started with that.
So it was interesting. I saw some executions of videos being taken in service industry, and I decided to just call my best customers. So I took a bunch of repair orders, I called my best customers and asked them how their experience was. And what was interesting is they had bought multiple cars, 3-4 cars. They had spent $1,500 on the repair orders. They knew our service advisor by name. It was a fabulous experience until I asked the last question. And that last question was, did you ever have any doubts? And every single one of my best customers had doubts. And I was like, if my best customers have doubts, whether we needed to do a service or not, what about everyone else? So that was really the moment that changed everything for me and started us down this road.
How did customers respond, and did they respond well to utilizing videos?
Yeah, so what's interesting is I think the timing was perfect, right? So if you look at today, texting's the most used app on a phone. 10 billion videos are watched a day on Facebook. Forget about TikTok, everything else. It's crazy. People don't want to read, they consume through video. So when you look at those customer behaviors, and then you look at technology, like telephones take better videos than Hollywood cameras did years ago.
Right.
And then, unless you're traveling, you don't download movies or music, it streams. So the stars kind of lined up, and we just basically put that platform right there to just really, when they always say, Kim, they always go, communicate to the customer on their terms. You always hear people say that. Well, we're actually doing that instead of just talking about it. And that's really, we got kind of lucky with customers.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you at TruVideo, you have a lot of research and data. You did the Rovi report. We've utilized the Rovi report here at CDK. So what kind of information really sticks out to you?
The Rovi report was really important because everybody kept calling us and asking us what's happening. You're doing 7 million videos. What's going on? So we did a study with an OEM. They shared their data with us, 1.1 million repair orders. Out of those repair orders, the ROs that had video were $55 more. Simultaneously, customer success and customer experience, intent to return went up 4 points on Net Promoter, and value for service went up 3 points on Net Promoter, and they paid more money. So it's very clear, and right now we're seeing, and we're going to be able to share, some of our OEM partners have exploded on the J.D. Power Service Index now. So we're seeing what an impact it has on the customer.
So you're seeing dealers want it, consumers want it, and OEMs are realizing that.
Yeah, because we figured out the real problem in service wasn't showing them an MPI. We were communicating to people in a transparent fashion the way they wanted to communicate.
So did anything surprise you?
Yeah. So I always say first mover advantage is when you learn first. So the thing that surprised me the most, when I originally started this, I wanted people to see and understand what they were paying, right? I didn't want our customers to have doubts. What we did learn, because we follow the data, was that the communication chain was broke. So technicians were making 6 recommendations, and the advisor was watering them down to 4 before they spoke with the customer. And we found it was because they felt the tech was overselling, or they were afraid to tell the customer the price was too high, or they were new to the business. So those 6 recommendations went to 4 before they got to the customer. Then they verbally articulated that to the customer, and the customer tried to call a confidant, significant other. By the time it got to the end of the communication chain, it was like Swahili, right? So it was like phone game, right? Back phone game, but very difficult things. We started seeing the amount of shares happening, and everyone through the process, and that decision maker that wasn't at the dealership, were seeing the same message from the expert. So it became as important as the video itself. We were able to, that same message went all the way through the communication chain, unadulterated.
So we recently did a service shopper study at CDK, and the number one reason consumers come to dealerships is because of the knowledge for the technician. So,
right.
to me, that It's just like letting the customer see behind the curtain.
Yeah, if you think about it, I want to talk to the doctor, not the receptionist, right? So, I mean, the way the world works today with healthcare, you've had this firsthand experience where you're like, am I going to talk to the doctor at any moment here? And now we're talking about that with an automobile.
Right, exactly, exactly. So CDK ServiceView, powered by TruVideo, has a heavy focus on data and analytics that dealers and managers can really use. So what are your thoughts around that?
I always hear the term data and analytics, and luckily for me, I'm not just involved in software, but I own a whole auto group. And everyone you talk to are my managers or people that work for me, GMs, service directors, parts. It's like, great, anybody can say data and analytics, right? But how would you make it actionable, right? Like, what matters? And so what we do is we've condensed all that into into that dashboard where we can show you what the utilization is, how people are utilizing it, how many times people are watching, sharing, and then we have real-time sentiment on all the words and phrases that people are sending through text. So real time, we understand that's how the customer feels, that's what they're saying, and we've put that really up there in a soundbite sort of fashion. And you could click and dig deep, but this is what the managers want to know. They want to know and control the environment. And never before as a dealer could I control our communications. Now I can say, this is the way the video is going to be shown to the customer in this fashion. This is how we're going to analyze this. I couldn't sit there as a dealer all day and listen to service advisors and no, change this, change that. We're being able to really create that quality message and experience we've always wanted.
So this is way more than a video tool. I mean, it's a true communication engagement platform.
That's right, right. Because really, when you talk about telephone as a communication tool, and it doesn't work, no one wants to talk on the phone, right? So we really, when you're in TruVideo and CDK ServiceView, what happens is when I send the text, the minute it's opened, it shows opened. So you can see the engagement from the client on screen through the whole process as if they were sitting across the table from you. So it's really good.
And I can get information internally as well, right? So like through chatting and making sure that internal communication.
Right, so we built out a chat tool that's for the whole store, but in service, it's built for the transportation industry, because in transportation industry, you have to have micro conversations. So you've seen all these, Slacks or Teams, but they're not built for transportation. So our chat platform allows us to say, hey, parts technician, advisor, Kim wants Firestones that she has on the vehicle, but she also wants a price for Michelins. She might want to buy the Michelin. So everybody's in the loop. No one needs to walk around to certain counters. So it's really a real neat setup.
Yeah. So you always talk about personalization, right? So explain how that carries and how that plays into the consumer experience.
Right, so customer experience, when people talk about it all the time, let me tell you what it's not. It's not me telling the customer to give me perfect 10s on a survey and not have them satisfied, right? That's what happens. Give me 10s or, no, customer experience, one of the pillars of customer experience these days and in the future is personalization. I'll tell you a funny story. I was home, my daughter gets a t-shirt from Poshmark, some used t-shirt she bought, and she goes, oh my God. And I go, what's going on? Is the t-shirt ripped or what happened? She goes, no, she wrote a thank you note, personal note. People are longing for these personalized experiences, and they are becoming vital in customer experience. Customer experience is not just going, thank you, here's your keys, let me walk you to your car. That's not enough. This world is getting uber competitive, and what customers' expectations are large, and personalization will be the category killer going forward for all customer experience.
And right now is the perfect opportunity for dealers to really, ramp up their fixed ops, right? With what's going on with the inventory availability, and then just what's going to change in the market, as we move forward.
Well, I'm going to put it a different way than you said. Always is the time to have service, and that's what our business ignores. Like, I can't be involved in conversations where someone goes, service does 43% of your gross profit and it's only this percent of your revenue. Like, all right, that's the fifth time in the last minute someone told me that, but they're not doing anything about it, right? So you can joke around like you give away razors to sell the blades. Like, this is what we do. This service is an integral part. I mean, when you're talking about the dealership franchise model, it is what we have above all these newcomers. We have all these great locations, great facilities, and service is how we're going to own the customer. Your study really showed that 30% stay and 70% defect. As cars get more complex and we start doing electric, we're going to have to keep 50%. So we're not going to see them as much. We just need to keep 50 to 60% instead of that 30% that we keep.
Right, so back to the survey that we did, trust, of course, was one of the top reasons why consumers both stay at your dealership and leave, but also knowledge, as we talked about.
I mean, you have great dealers at CDK. I'm a CDK dealer. I use CDK and eLead at all my dealerships, and our partnership was great for me because I got to see inside how you work. And when we put Service View and we're working together, you have these great dealers that you're dealing with, and they're seeing these it's instant pudding. They start the first week, thank you for the video, this is neat, I've never had this experience. We actually take that report and we've shared them with you, and this is the first week of comments. And they go, how was this a month? No, this is like your week, all these comments from the clients. So it is amazing what an impact it's had on clients.
Yeah, I mean, I've had one dealer tell me that, he's seen an increase of 26%, almost immediately in a service department, so huge.
I'll tell you, it's ROI is sometimes I struggle with fellow dealers because they'll go, how much does it cost? And I'm like, it's a 20 to 30 like X ROI, right? If I'm buying another dealership and doing an acquisition, I look at their service business, because when you buy a dealership, you're really buying that customer base, you're buying that fixed absorption. So whenever I buy a deal, I look at it. The second thing I look at is sales per RO. Sales per RO is like $100 in labor, and our stores are at $230. I know exactly if I paid 5 times earnings, it's not going to be 5 times if I just change how we treat our customers and how we communicate. Don't change the way you do business, change the way you communicate. That's really the key right now. That's the way customers want to communicate.
So as a dealer and a software founder, you have a unique perspective in the industry. So where do you see it going in the future?
Paul Walzer said this yesterday in his speech at NADA. Paul was the departing chairman, and he's a great customer of yours, great customer of ours. He said it best. He said that OEMs and dealers need to be closer than they've ever been before. We need to be closer to our customers. And that requires people change the way they do things, and people have a more open mind. And to add a little context, when you look at Rivian, right, they go public. The day they go public, their market cap is the same as Ford. If we ever wanted to be close to the customer, it's right now. And if you can't see, we're going to be competing with that type of model. You're incredibly blind and should consider leaving the car business. But the reality is, when you think about it, I'm in a room with dealers that are impactful to their communities. And none of these big companies can have this local impact, can have that infrastructure that is currently in existence today. So I'm a big bettor on your customers and my dealerships and my customers at TruVideo that the dealer franchise model is going to go long.
Well, I keep going back to that service shopper study, and the dealer relationship was also one of the top reasons why customers stayed coming to a dealership versus going to an independent. So I can't agree more.
So, and the last thing I'll tell you, I think really from my perspective, is brands in general need to curate and control their own data, right? So as we see these lines that we build out, the sentiment we're getting, the real-time feedback on Pulse, after the repair order closes, it lets us know how the customer feels instantly. It's not a survey that comes 4 days later. As we start doing this and grabbing this data and analytics alongside of CDK and this partnership, we're going to be able to provide way more actionable, like mic dropping type of information where we can correlate sales and experience. You're going to treat your customers well, have this great personalization, but we're going to have to measure it and say, what's our next level? And it's all going to come through the data and analytics part.
Well, Joe, I really appreciate you taking the time spending with us today, and CDK Service View, powered by TruVideo, is definitely going to help our dealers move to that next level.
You guys are a great partner, Kim, and I would do anything for you.
Thank you.